how did you educate yourself to learn more about what was actually going on? It looks like a lot of your education was experiential. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, the majority of it would have been experiential because I didn't understand. So I didn't understand, but I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be, I just wanted to be one of the regular kids. So I didn't really want to like necessarily confront people, but I did want to question people. And so I would always ask like, okay, well, why did you say that, or why do you think that, or like, because I assumed as a kid that I must have been missing something that I just wasn't getting yet. So I kept on trying to find the thing that they knew that I didn't yet know. So when they would say something about like indigenous people, it was always that they were thieves, lazy, and alcoholics. Those were the three things that would always come up. And when I'd say, but I'm friends with indigenous kids, and that's not, it doesn't match up with what I'm seeing. And it would always be like, oh no, well, trust us, you just haven't seen enough yet to, to see what we're seeing. And then it would be these kids' parents, also telling me this kind of stuff like, oh no, Jose, your family's, still fairly new to Canada. Like you just haven't seen as much as we have. And and then the contradictions also kind of started coming in where I'm, seeing my friend's dad comes home after work and cracks a beer, and then he's talking about these other kids as parents as being the alcoholics, and meanwhile he's having one or two beers before supper, another one or two with supper, another one or two after supper, and somehow that's a different thing. So I started kind of, was there like, do the rules not count for you guys? Like, is that part of what I'm seeing here too? And yeah, so all of it was just kind of like experiencing these things until it kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, you guys aren't like trustworthy narrators. So I can't just take your word for it anymore because I've seen too many inconsistencies, too many, kind of hypocritical things. I've brought in my own experiences and they just kind of get dismissed as being like, no, but that's a separate thing, or but you guys are one of the good ones. And I'm saying, but this is my large experience with my family being very active in the community and very welcoming of other new immigrant families. I'm seeing more immigrant families coming in, and none of them are like what you guys are explaining. But yet, that, my anecdotal evidence doesn't count as much as your anecdotal evidence. So then finally, after that would have been elementary through to like about grade eight. And then around that point is when I was kind of like, okay, I need to, kind of start actually looking into this, I guess at a, maybe more of an academic level, like actually seeing if what is the research on this? Like, is there any science behind it? Because if there is, I'm open to seeing it. But so far, it really doesn't seem like there's, anything other than just kind of some weird bias thing going on here.
Okay, and so where did you look to get that education? Because eighth grade is pretty young for people to start looking. I know that for me, I didn't start looking academically until I was really, well, I mean, it kind of depends on how you look at it, but I would say that I didn't really choose to independently study racial hierarchy until I was in college. So you're thinking about doing it more like on the cusp of high school. So what did you look to for sources and whatnot?
I started asking my family members, what's going on here, kind of thing. And one of my uncles gave me a copy of Malcolm X's autobiography, and he said, "Read this. In there, it covers some of this stuff." And I remember there was a chapter in it where he goes into the science of genes and how they express in the body, and that really piqued my interest. And then one of my aunts is a scientist, so then I asked her about it, and she was basically just kind of like, yeah, there's genetic traits that will do things like affect your skin color, your height, whether you end up needing glasses or not, like that kind of stuff. But as far as somebody's moral character to judge them on, she was like, no, there's absolutely no scientific foundation to this. And that kind of, I mean, that was almost all that I needed for confirmation. And then after that, I just kind of started reading, more stuff, like anything that I could kind of find on the literature. And all of it just kind of seemed to debunk whatever other people were saying.
Thanks for watching. For access to the full-length conversation and all of the 2-hour long unedited conversations that I've had on race, click the support link in the description below. Thanks for your support and see you next time.